Our next question is about tech conferences. And the question is, everybody wants to go to conferences or expensive trainings, but I don't know if I have enough budget to support that. Okay, so the first thing is a very, very common issue with executives in technology and product. We have lots of conferences out there in the world, and everybody wants to get involved and learn more and go to those conferences. So it's also a critical part of keeping your employees around, retention, all of that. And sometimes we don't have the budget for it. So how do we solve that? Number one is there's this element of you have to really fight for the budget and be good at those negotiations. Okay, so if you're a leader, if you're an executive, and your budget for conference is pretty small, you want to definitely try to make a case for getting more money because good conferences truly do help your developers get better. They they make a difference. So being able to make a business case for it and negotiate with the ELT or CFO or CEO to get more budget for your conferences, that's really important. You have to have that skill, and if you don't have it, you have to go and deliver it. Just you have to try to make that happen. The second thing is you have to ask your team what they think they're going to get out of these conferences. Okay. So I've been in a bunch of situations where the teams were going to conferences. I won't name any conferences, but they're going to conferences, but they were coming back with just like having had a fun time, but not necessarily learned anything valuable. So you definitely don't want that to be the case, right? That shouldn't be your culture. You want to go to the conference that are really going to teach your people something, they're going to learn something, they're going to bring it back into the organization, they're going to improve the company, improve the product, improve their collaboration with their team, something along those lines. The third big thing to remember is that these days, if you're in any kind of like even second, third tier metropolitan area, there's conferences that are completely free happening all around you. So this is where I think a lot of organizations and CTOs make mistakes where they don't actually get out the door and they stay inside, and that's never going to work. So literally just Google all the conferences around your neighborhood and where your office is and start going to those conferences. A lot of them are free, and you get started that way, and you sort of are able to do a lot of fun things and learn from going to these local conferences. The last thing is to put on your own conference. Okay, what I mean by that is like, okay, if you don't have a ton of budget to fly to Sydney, Australia to do a conference, like use some of the money that you do have and invite a whole bunch of people from different companies around your area and run your own conference. And in that way, your team can collaborate with all sorts of outside developers, engineers, product people, and learn a whole bunch of things. So, number one, to recap, you got to fight for it, make a business case. Number two, you got to figure out which conferences are actually valuable to your team and not just like a field trip type thing. Number three, you got to get out the door and go to your own or get out the door and go to local conferences that are free. And number four, you got to do your own conferences and start that way. So thanks for submitting the question. And if you want something answered, go ahead and submit it in the comments below.